sitting in the kitchen for a long time because we like to sit with them and eat. But he and I have been eating earlier so that we're not snacking and eating all those calories before our actual meal. So, and then finally, there's a lot of really great seasonal fruits and vegetables out there right now, particularly like oranges and grapefruit and citrus fruits and strawberries. They're tasting really, really good at the grocery store. And so, anytime your food tastes a little bit better, it kind of makes you want to eat a little bit healthier. So really just kind of focus on some of those seasonal fruits and vegetables and start adding those to your meals.
Gotcha. Very good advice for sure. And so with that said, Monica, as you change up your routine a little bit there, let's talk about just setting goals and some of those things. So how about, manageable goals this time of the year, that you talk about that weather changing, a good opportunity to maybe establish a routine of walking, things like that. Let's talk about goals and management of those goals.
Yeah. So, when I talk about setting goals and when I mean, setting small goals, it's because if you kind of bite off more than you can chew at one time, then you're not really able to accomplish a lot because it seems like it's so far away from you. So, in our situation, it's just that one time frame during the day is something that we're planning on changing, just kind of that hour, like right after we get home from work. Maybe for somebody else, it's either starting to eat breakfast, having a balanced breakfast in the morning because you're a meal skipper. And sometimes when people do that, they tend to eat a little bit more during the day. Maybe your issue is related to exercise. And so, I would like to say that it's getting warmer out. Today is not a good example for that, but it will be getting warmer out. The sun will be up longer. So maybe that's going for a walk after your evening meal, even if it's only 20 minutes. If you do that, 3 to 4 times a week, that can be over an hour of additional exercise and steps that you're getting in, kind of stretching your body, helping your blood sugar levels steady a little bit more. And so those are just some examples of really small changes that you can focus on to kind of build up to where you want to be with your personal goals.
Very good. Very good advice. Monica Nyman, St. Louis District Dairy Council, our guest on the phone here for this morning. So, Monica, let's talk about the nutrients and nutrition that our body needs and where we can find some of those things. How about that?
Sure. So basically the nutrients that you're getting from the food that you're eating are basically just vitamins and minerals, but those are required for your body to function properly. So I kind of just start with sort of the My Plate. It has all the different food groups in it. So your fruits and your vegetables, those of course are providing you with fiber, lots of antioxidants. Your meats, trying to pick lean meats like chicken or ground turkey or fish or salmon, things like that. Grains, trying to make sure that they're whole grains because, again, that gives you additional fiber. And the great thing about all of those food groups is that they all pair really well with the dairy food group, which is giving you calcium to keep your bones strong, protein to keep your muscles strong, and additional nutrients, again, to keep everything functioning in your body. So one thing that I wanted to mention is that it's not really a matter of removing your favorite foods. Sometimes that kind of brings a negative connotation to what you're doing. So if you say, I can't have this, maybe focusing on the positive. We know that positivity is really healthy for us. We always say, find people that are positive, find people, in your circle that bring positivity to you. So think about that in sort of your meal plans. I can have this, but maybe I should have a little bit less, or maybe I should modify the recipe or add something to it instead of thinking about that negative of removing different things. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention, specifically with the dairy food group, there are a lot of options in the dairy case. Almost every time I go to the grocery store, I see something new, some new product, whether that be a different flavor of yogurt, a different combination of milks that are out there, cottage cheese packaged in a different way. Maybe it's a a larger container or a smaller portable container for my lunchbox. We're seeing a lot of lactose-free products out there. So again, just be sure that you're trying different products to find something that you like, because there really is something for everyone.
Sure, very good. Monica, let's talk a little bit about how practical ideas and tips to get nutrients into our diet. And of course, you're a dietitian, so I feel like your advice carries a little bit of weight on this one. So how about that?
Yeah, and a lot of these examples are things that I do every single day in my world. Like, a lot of times people will ask me, like, well, what do you do? Like, my friends will say, what do you eat for lunch? Like, what are you packing for lunch? Will you share that recipe with me? So if you have somebody in your world that you kind of respect in that manner, ask them, like, what kind of recipes are you making at home at night for your family, that sort of thing. So in the morning, you can add, I like to add a lot of vegetables to my meals, because that volumizes them, which basically means it makes them bigger. So I'm eating more volume, but vegetables are so low in calories, and they're like that one food group that people tend to sort of forget about. But that can really help balance your calories out. So if you add like spinach or mushrooms to your breakfast eggs, you can put cheese on there. I always have that with like a whole grain piece of toast or a bagel or some kind of bread, just because I like to have carbs in the morning with my breakfast. You can put nuts and berries on your yogurt or in your oatmeal. I like to do walnuts. I keep frozen blueberries in the freezer, and I just toss those into my yogurt or my oatmeal, and they defrost a little bit, but they're also kind of half frozen. So it's kind of a really like nice treat, especially in the summertime whenever it's hot outside. I like to put avocados on my eggs. So sliced avocado, just a fried egg on a whole wheat toast, and I add a little slice of cheese. Lots of options for cheeses. I like Munster pepper jack. I mean, I really like any kind, but that just gives it a little bit more of that comfort flavor, and then a glass of milk on the side. At lunchtime, I pack my lunch a lot. If I'm traveling, I'm eating out of my lunchbox. And so I do a lot of salads or things that are chopped that I can just eat easily in the car. Always lots of vegetables on those. Containers of yogurt with fresh fruit. And again, the mixed nuts, because those have protein and fiber in them, and that helps fill me up. In the evening, you can always add vegetables to different types of pastas or casseroles, and those will cook down. And so what I've noticed is that my family actually doesn't really notice when I put extra vegetables and things like that, because they're soft. And so if you kind of are stirring that with everything else, they kind of just combine in there. And then we like to sprinkle cheese or put sliced cheese on all that different type of thing. And then for kids or picky eaters, one big suggestion is get them in the kitchen. They like to help prep, and they're actually more interested in eating those foods if you include them. But I also say, don't stress yourself out. A lot of times kids aren't going to like things. They're not going to like to try new vegetables. I give my kids fruit, lots of options every day. It still gives them all those vitamins and minerals. They prefer the taste of that. So don't beat yourself up. I say those are small battles. They're still getting fiber. They're still getting lots of nutrition. So try to serve different kinds of fresh fruits with all those different types of meals.
Yeah. Monica is one where if I don't get the necessary protein I need in a given day, I really don't feel good the next. I get a headache or just kind of feel run down, those sorts of things. How do you make sure you get enough protein? Like you're talking about eating salads and those sorts of things. I find when I do that, I'm really hungry at night. And if I don't have a protein, like a really strong protein presence in my dinner, again, I feel really just down the next day, even a headache or something like that. How do you make sure you're getting the protein you need?
Yeah, so with protein, everybody has a little bit of a different need for protein. And secondly, everybody's body kind of functions a little bit differently. So there's not really like a cut way that you have to do every single thing. But so when it comes to salads, I have a lot of vegetables on there because I like them, but they make me feel good. But I also know that I'm kind of not overeating my calories. But to that salad, I will add chopped chicken. We eat a lot of chicken here. We cook it in a couple different ways. I'll put a whole can of tuna on there. It has like 25 grams of protein for one can of tuna, or I'll get those prepackaged, the ones that you just tear the top off and you can kind of just scrape it in there. I'll eat that maybe once or twice a week, as well as the salmon that they sell in cans. And thirdly, I put a lot of cottage cheese. I like to put cottage cheese on all kinds of meals because it just has that kind of creamy texture, and it's kind of like a base flavor. So I can add that with pasta or with salad, or with even like a chipotle kind of bowl, like a rice and beans, and it kind of is like a sour cream almost in that situation. So cottage cheese has a lot of protein in it. I think it's like 12 grams for a half of a cup, which isn't very much. And so as long as you're picking the right kinds of high protein foods, it's easy for those protein grams to add up over a day's time. And then that way you are satisfied. Like you said, if you're not getting enough, you're kind of hungry at night and that sort of thing. So protein is a really great tool for people who are looking to be fuller for longer. And there's lots of really great options for that.
Very good advice. Well, Monica, where do folks go to maybe find some of these tips you've talked about, or some tips on just getting nutrients and all the things we need in our daily diets? Where do they go for things like that?
Sure, you can visit our website. We have a lot of information about just some different specific dairy topics, with also a lot of recipes. Our website is stldairycouncil.org. And you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We have posts kind of about just the dairy farming industry. We have recipes. We have some photos of our staff out and about, kind of highlighting the work that we're doing on behalf of local dairy farmers. So Facebook and Instagram, we are STL Dairy Council.
Very good. Again, Monica Nyman, St. Louis District Dairy Council, my guest on the phone this morning. More to come with Monica on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4Ls with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
Prevention is the key to staying healthy this winter. Hi, I'm Paul Scarron, CEO of Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. Prevention is the key to wellness in cold weather, but if prevention doesn't work, the Warner Hospital Walk-In Clinic inside our Family Medicine Center is your backup plan. No appointment, no problem. From the simple sniffles to the flu, we can help you feel better fast. Come see us at the Warner Hospital Walk-In Clinic, where we offer quality, compassionate care close to home.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
Get WHOW programming live or on demand right there on your desktop, tablet, iPhone, or smartphone when you want it 24 hours a day. Just go to DeWittDailyNews.com. If you want to listen to live WHOW programming, just click the Listen Live icon. And if you want to hear one of your favorite WHOW programs when you want to, just click on the Audio On Demand icon. WHOW programming is there when you want it. Just another service from the big 1520 AM and 92.3 FM WHOW.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, my guest on the phone today, Monica Nyman, St. Louis District Dairy Council. And Monica, let's continue our conversation talking about just there's always ways to improve health outside of food. We talked a lot about, protein and nutrients and all of those things and the various ways we can improve improve the meals of the day and all of that. Let's talk about non-food ways we can improve our health.
Sure. So we have this phrase and actually a handout on our website called "Thank Your Drink." So, in my world, we do talk a lot about meals and cooking and that sort of thing. And we don't often focus on the drinks that people are consuming and how many calories you can get from some of the drinks that you might be consuming. And so, as a registered dietitian, we constantly are reminding people that, energy drinks, which I know are really popular these days, especially with high schoolers. I'm seeing that a lot more when I go in and teach high schoolers. Sodas, though, like regular sodas or different types of cocktails or alcohol that people are consuming, those really add up when it comes to calories. So, calories, if you're overeating or over drinking these calories, can lead to weight gain. And then that in turn turns into so many different medical conditions, whether it's high blood pressure or metabolic syndrome or type 2 diabetes or, gut health, those kinds of things. It's all kind of directly related. So I just would encourage listeners to kind of evaluate how your drinks are impacting your health. And maybe that's one of your small goals that you can set, is to cut back on some of those calories. So, maybe rather than sipping on soda, make sure that you're getting plenty of water in every single day. In the summertime, I like to put like a fresh lemon. I'll just squeeze fresh lemon. I've seen people put cucumbers in their water, different fruits, just to kind of give it a little bit of a taste or a flavor. And that's perfectly fine. Your milk, of course, has protein, calcium, vitamin D. So that's going to offer you some nutrition for that beverage. And then, of course, moderation is the key with any of those beverages that I mentioned. So if you want to set up a small goal of just trying to kind of evaluate how many calories you're getting in from the beverages that you drink. And if you don't know, if you're going through a coffee shop or a restaurant and you have no idea how many calories you're consuming, maybe just take a peek at that. Take a look at their website. Most of those places are publishing calories these days, and you can see if it has 600 or something, almost half of your daily intake, just in sugar. That might be something that you can work on in the upcoming months.
Yeah, it's funny. I was looking at a bottle of Gatorade one time, just kind of curious what the sugar content was on it, and it was it breaks down how much, and then it's the portion is directly recommended to how much of your daily diet that makes up. And I looked, in the Gatorade is 100% of the recommended sugar that you take in a day. That's just one bottle, and it's like these people do a great job of marketing it, like, oh, it's such a great such a great drink for the athlete who's recovering and all of those things. And then it's like, oh wow, but it's got 100% of the sugar I'm supposed to take in on a given day. You know what I mean? So yeah, they do a good job marketing those things. Not always the healthiest though.
Right. And those nutrition labels they're honestly key to figuring out what you are consuming, because if you're not paying attention to it, the other thing you have to pay attention to is the portion size, because, it might be a cup of that product, but you're drinking 3 cups of it. So you have to multiply those numbers by 3. And kind of speaking of that, I have a really cool exhibit that I use. I use it a lot for community events and for high school events, but it's like I have sugar cubes. And I have the amount of white sugar in every beverage, like soda, coffee drinks, sports drinks, so that the kids and even the consumer adults can see exactly how much white sugar they're drinking when they drink that. It's very eye-opening.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely is. Very good. Monica, I've got 1 minute with you. What did I miss today you want to put out there for us?
Well, I did want to just talk a little bit about a couple of our programs that we have coming up with the St. Louis Dairy Council. So we're kind of buttoning up our school events. We have some Adopt a Calf field trips that we will be planning for those who are entering our contest this month. And those are always fun, to bring the kids out to visit the farmer and see their calves that they adopted. Our mobile dairy classroom is going to be in the DeLand Weldon area. at the end of April. It's actually going to be in my territory for about a week and a half. So I'm excited. The mobile dairy classroom, again, has the live milking cow Louise, where the kids can watch that demonstration. So I'll be visiting some of those events at the end of the month here. And we're planning for June Dairy Month. We're going to be talking about all the different varieties that are available at the grocery store in the milk category. There are some, you might have seen them and say, what is that? And so I'm going to explain all of that for June Dairy Month. And then upcoming, we have some information on lactose free. We're doing a campaign with community events, health professionals, media. So that's going to be really exciting.
Very good. Monica Nyman, St. Louis District Dairy Council, our guest. Network News is now.
SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. From fiery rhetoric to an AI video that insults American workers, China's been lashing out at the U.S. over President Trump's tariffs. And Beijing now says it's raising its retaliatory